Hello, Jerrod Niemann here. I'm going to be answering your questions and basically, I guess, interviewing myself, so to speak. But thank you for the awesome questions, and here we go. What instruments did you learn while growing up? I learned to sing, to play piano, and guitar, but definitely piano before guitar. That was more of a high school instrument. Your first guitar was autographed by Tracy Lawrence. Do you still have it? I absolutely do. My mom had it on the wall in Texas for many years, and a couple years ago she asked me if I wanted to bring it to Nashville, and I have it propped up right here next to me. What is the nonprofit organization Kansas Kids, and did it help you to develop your talent? It's a division of American Kids, and it's a really, really cool organization. You basically, at your local level, compete, and in the first level, even if you just show up, you still get to go on to the next level, and which I thought was cool for kids that maybe their first time or a little shy. But if you keep competing and succeeding, then you end up in Oklahoma City, because that's where American Kids was founded by Dr. Dale Smith and his wife Carolyn Snow, and you get to compete there. And we also did the Nationals in Branson one year, and it was an organization that definitely helped me learn a lot about being on stage and also just being around other kids that were interested in music. What was the first band you played with? Well, I played with some guys in high school, and I don't even know if we even had a name. We just got hired to play a Christmas party. We only knew like 6 songs, so we just played them a bunch. But then as the time went on, one guy from that band and I both went to college for music. So we learned a lot more songs with a lot of more experienced musicians, so to speak. Why did you decide to get an Associate of Arts degree? Well, in West Texas and Levelland, there's a school called South Plains College that's only a 2-year school, but it offers commercial music, kind of like Belmont University in Nashville, but on a scale that's very affordable and very hands-on. You're definitely kind of a bigger fish in a smaller sea, and it's just a great place to go. You know, definitely it's pretty fascinating. You can take songwriting, you can take steel guitar, fiddle. You're in bands that you go play shows where it looks like you're just in a band, but really it's a class, and you get to really network and meet a lot of cool people that I definitely still stay in touch with today. And I'm lucky enough to be an advisor on the advisory board there at South Plains College, and so it's fun to have gone full circle. After college you had a developmental deal with Mercury Records. For people who don't know about a developmental deal, can you explain, and how did it help you grow as a musician? Well, a developmental deal, to be quite honest, is basically a record label doesn't think you're ready just yet, and they kind of want to see, what you're going to develop into as an artist as a whole. And sometimes a developmental deal can also just be they want to hear what you sound like, when they give you a little bit of money to go in the studio and record professionally with all the big dogs in town. And so, I was very grateful for that opportunity on Mercury. It really didn't, I guess, snowball into anything bigger, but it at least gave me a small pat on the back and let me know that I was headed in the right direction. How are you discovered? Well, it's pretty crazy. A friend of mine from college, Richie Brown, ran into Garth Brooks when we both had moved to Nashville, and he kind of told Garth that him and I had been writing a bunch of music together, and we had loved to sit down and write a song with him. And we knew that was pretty far-fetched, but Garth listened to our songs and called us up and was kind enough and gracious enough to extend an invitation to his house to begin writing. And so after that, I felt like that really kicked open a lot of doors, and I learned so much from Garth, and I still do. And so I'd have to say he's the one that definitely gave me my first shot. What is a genre of music? Of your music, because I hear a bit of country, the pop, and your videos have a heavy metal edge look. Well, that's what I love about going to college for country music is you get to learn where, I guess a lot more than some other people may know, just because there's a lot more information to dig through. But Johnny Cash, Elvis Presley, and Bob Wills and his Texas Playboys are all in the Country Music Hall of Fame and Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So the lines have been crossed for so many years, that there's so many subgenres of music that I just love. I love music. I love all types, and I love being the gateway drug, if possible, to country music for people that say, "Hey, I've never really given country music a chance, but I like your album," and so that I like that role. It's I think it's great to be able to try to expand country music into a place where other people can be drawn to it. And what I love about it is everybody's opinion is right. We're all entitled to it. And that's the great thing about intangible art and things like music is everybody gets to debate and be correct at the same time. How is it working with Pitbull? Well, Pitbull is a class act. We went to Miami to do the video, and he was so kind. Everybody that was with him treated everybody that was with me like family and, old friends. And that meant a lot to me. There's a lot of rumor, especially in the hip hop world. I know there's a lot of, over the years, street cred where, you got to be tough and cool, and you don't always get a good rap. But Pitbull, at least for the times that I've been around him, is just a really great guy. And so if anybody's a fan of him out there, you're definitely cheering for the right artist. During your career, you have worked with the likes of Brad Paisley, Lee Brice, Blake Shelton, and Garth Brooks. Can you tell us the challenge of working with other musicians, and can you tell us a feel-good story with your co-writers? It's always a huge treat to work with any other musician because you have that connection to music, and especially when you get around people like Blake Shelton or Brad Paisley or Garth. They've had so much experience and they've succeeded at the highest level, so you can't help but just pick up hopefully some good habits. And so I've always been so excited and honored to be on any of those tours or to have any of those artists collaborate with me or record my music. It's definitely the best feeling in the world. But when it comes to Lee Brice, he's one of my best friends, and he's definitely one of the most talented people I've ever been around in my life. So anytime we get together, we know each other so well that there's not that awkwardness when you write with somebody for a first time. You can be honest. If you don't like something or if you love it, you can just say it. And with Lee, we know each other so well. It's just it always is a feel good time, just because whether you're writing on a tour bus or out at we've written in Hawaii together, in Jamaica, and some of these places we've been lucky enough to travel, and Blackberry Farms in Tennessee. I have a cabin also outside of town that we get out to. But even if we just were in a writer's room, it would still feel just as good to me, just because I know when we write, it almost takes you on a vacation to somewhere else. And when we get done writing, when someone listens to the song, we hope that their mind takes them somewhere special as well. Where does your music come from? Well, that's what I love about this thought is music, whether it's an inspiration of a melody, a beat, a song, a subject, a story. It's all it's all part of the puzzle, and it's a really cool thing to be a part of. But the best songs, I feel like, come out of nowhere, and they happen fast. Where you kind of just are more like holding the pen, and when you get done, you can't believe that you were a part of that music. And so that's what's really cool. Is I don't know if anybody really knows where music comes from. You can definitely learn the fundamentals, how to write a song, and sit down and create one and structure it correctly in the eyes of, Music Row. But where it comes from, it really is a gift from God, and I think it's really cool to be a conduit and a vessel to try to bring music to life. What can you tell me about your new record, and what is the story behind it? Well, every time I record an album, I definitely try to get myself out of my comfort zone and drift off into places that I never had before. From the first album, I put interstitials between the songs. The second album, I used horns on every record. The third album, basically just cranked up every knob to 10 and just let it roll like a freight train. And this album, I feel like, is, if you were to take all those records and put them in a blender and hit puree, it would probably be this record. It encompasses a little bit of everything. And so I'm very excited to finally feel like we have all four winds blowing at the same time. Did you have any special helping you get the record finished? Yeah, anyone special, sorry. Yes, Jimmy Lee Sloas. I produced the records with him, and he is truly a musical genius. He can play about any instrument, and the most important, I guess, talent to encompass is knowing what's right and knowing what's wrong. And I feel like Jimmy has a natural instinct to know what's right, and it's just always a treat and a pleasure to get to make music with him. It's so fun to learn from him, and also he's just, when it comes to recording, you got to have a good vibe in the studio, and if you don't have a good vibe, then I don't think you're going to get the results that you want. And so he brings, on top of everything else, he brings an amazing vibe to the studio where everybody just is having a blast, and it's always a very pleasurable experience. Can you tell us about your charity, Free the Music USA? Yes, it's one that my wife, Morgan, and I started. Getting a chance to play all over our country. We play some of the biggest cities to the smallest towns. And one thing I've noticed is whenever budgeting isn't what it used to be, a lot of times the first thing to go in school is music, the music programs. And that just is heartbreaking to me because I know how much music affected my childhood. And it keeps you out of trouble. And it also allows you to have a sense of community for maybe introverted children. It also allows you to broaden your horizons, to be able to go to college and save your parents some money. Even if you're not planning on doing it the rest of your life, it's that gateway to help you get that education that you need to have a career in whatever you're pursuing. So we felt it like it was very important to try to assist any school we could with with funds to try to keep their music program alive, and it's been really fun. It's been a huge learning process, and I'm very excited every time we get to go in there and be a part of someone's life is really special to me and her. Who would you like to open up for you? Well, shoot, anybody that's that I'd want to open for me would probably be someone I would rather be opening for. Lefty Frizzell is my favorite country artist from 1950s when he came out, and I can't imagine him opening for me, but I would definitely be honored to play music with him. But there's just so many. I mean, the list would go on and on. We had a guy that just celebrated his first #1 hit, Chris Lane. He opened up for us all last fall when we played the House of Blues tour. And so I'm really excited and proud of him and those guys for celebrating their first #1. What is your favorite guitar, make, model, and year? 1957 J185 Gibson. And it was a gift to me from the guy who wrote Lover Lover, which was my very first #1 hit. He wrote the song on the guitar, and I told him that there's no way I could really permanently accept it. I mean, I still have the guitar, but if he ever asked for it back, I'd give it to him. It's just a special instrument, and I've really enjoyed playing it over the years. What instruments do you use on tour versus the ones you record with in the studio? It's pretty much the same. A lot of I guess the first two albums, my band played on the whole record, and then the third album, we used a few studio musicians. But for the most part, it's what's fun about using your guys in the studio from your band is, there's no excuse not to be able to pull it off live. And so I really like that. But there are I sing a lot of harmonies, and so there are a lot more harmonies on our records than there are live, just because, there's only so many people on stage. When you write a song, how do you create it? There's many ways. A lot of times it's late night on your phone. You record a little piece of it and then finish it later. Someone may email you an idea of something they've started. Now what I like to do is get on my computer and build some tracks. And I have a studio at home, so I'll just kind of make, just jam out 3 a.m. and see what happens. And then, the next day I'll go back and see if it's worth salvaging. But it's that's what I love, is every song has its own, beginning and its own end and its own story. So, but I really do enjoy like creating the track as I write the song. What is your feeling about vinyl? Oh man, it doesn't get any better than vinyl. It's just so cool. It's the most pure form of recorded music. It's not compressed. It's special. Has the pops. It's vintage. It's and it really is the best way to listen to music. And I love hearing a good old vinyl record. And I always try to get at least one printing of our albums in vinyl. And it just, I can't quit smiling now thinking about it. It's just so cool. So I'm definitely pro vinyl. What is the biggest crowd you've played for? Well, it's called the Hoedown in Detroit, and they usually bring in about 350,000 people at once. And it's a really special thing they built over the years. So I played for 350,000 people. They weren't there, they didn't all buy tickets to see me. It wasn't that sort of thing, but it was definitely the biggest crowd I've played for. But being on tour with Brad Paisley and Blake Shelton and those guys, and Keith Urban, we played tens of thousands of people, 30, 40,000 probably. Are you BMI or ASCAP? Well, I was ASCAP, then BMI, and now I'm back to ASCAP. And, a lot of people ask what's better. And CSAC, CSAC is, they're growing all the time, so we'll throw them in there, of course. They've really stepped it up over the years and worked hard to be a real player against BMI and ASCAP. And so when someone moves to Nashville and asks me which one's the best, I just say, you know what? It's whoever believes in you the most and whoever gets what you do and will open those doors for you. That's who you need to go with, because they're all very capable of making that happen. How is the tour coming along? Do you get a chance to see any local sites while touring? Yes, the tour is great. We usually just kind of play on the weekends, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, sometimes Sundays. But yeah, anytime. We just played in Salisbury, Mass. Got out and checked out the beach. We went in Minnesota. We got out on Lake Superior and went salmon fishing and lake trout fishing. So just try to get out. Yeah, every town's known for something, and it's it's easy to get in the habit of staying on your bus and watching TV, but it's really foolish because there's a beautiful world out there. So we love to get off the bus and soak it in. What direction do you see your music heading in the next 2 years, and your long-term goals of your music? I think the music will speak for itself as the time comes along, because as life goes on, when you write and record, it's kind of a snapshot of your life at that moment. And so to really know what the future holds is impossible for me, but I just hope whatever I do, I can continue to grow as an artist and a songwriter and as a man, and hopefully my best music is ahead of me instead of behind. What fest would you like to play? I would like to do Bonnaroo, just it's in Tennessee, and I've always just been fascinated by it. And so maybe Bonnaroo would let me sneak in one day. What artist would you like to play in the studio and live with, and why? Living or dead? I don't know. I know I'm probably repeating myself, but Garth Brooks is such a big influence on so many things in my life. It'd be a huge honor to And I have sang with him on his albums in the studio a little bit, but we've never done anything together on anything that I recorded. So at any level he would ever need me, I would love to be there and create some more music with him. What music is on your phone right now? Well, it's that time of year where I love listening to Sublime, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Bob Marley, and Jimmy Buffett, and anything that kind of comes up on their Pandora or Spotify or iHeart stations. I just love being turned on to music that takes you on vacation. iPhone versus Android. You know, I've never had an Android, but I see my friends that have them. They're really cool phones. I just happen to have stuck with the iPhone. So for me, I'm like the last person to ever get the cool phone. I'm always one behind, so I'm pretty impressed. It didn't take much to impress me when it comes to phones. If you could pick any cartoon character, who would it be and why? Well, I don't know. I like Squidbillies. If you've ever heard of Squidbillies or haven't, you should check it out. It's redneck squids. I don't know if I'd want to be that character, but they're pretty funny and very demented. What music do you listen